just some of the tips that I have on cooking pasta. You know, because I don't like using tap water, because like most of the places I've lived, the water's not been good. But I finally decided, well, the pasta doesn't take up that much of the water. You drain most of the water. Now I cook it in tap water, like a couple teaspoons of water or something or whatever that get soaked into the pasta. And then when you're done cooking it, you can rinse it with the bottled water if you want. Now the water doesn't have to be totally boiling when you put the pasta into it. As long as it's like, 80, 90 degrees or something. That's good enough to put the pasta in and get it start cooking it. And then it'll continue to boil or whatever. You don't need a pot that's as big as the spaghetti. You can use a small pot. So first thing is how to get the spaghetti out of the box, right? And that's enough spaghetti for two meals of yourself. So the smaller you are, the smaller that little loop is going to be, and the bigger you are, the bigger the loop is going to be, right? If you wanted like 2/3 of it, just flip over one flap and then turn it sideways and then slide it out. Or you can flip over one of these bigger flaps and you get about a half of it out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip over one of these flaps. Anyway, you get enough out, and then you grab enough so it's about that much, right? So this is probably too much. Let me take a little bit less here. I'll take a little bit less. That's a little bit less than my hand around it. Okay, so I heated up this water here on the stove. It's been sitting here for a little bit, so it's already probably cooled off a little bit, but it's still, what is it here? It's almost 70, almost 80 degrees. But it'll be enough to demonstrate what I want to do here. So you put it in there, and the trick with cooking pasta is that you want to make sure that you don't leave it like this too long, with a little, just halfway in, because if you do that, then your pasta will end up this side of the pasta will cook more than this side. So the idea is to try to get it as quickly as possible, all the pasta in the water. As soon as you put it in there, it'll start to, see, it's already starting to bend a little bit. See that? I can bend it. So it only takes about a minute, but bend it. As soon as you're able to bend it as much as possible. Push it down in, and try to get it in there just as quickly as possible. And then once you get, then use a fork. Fork works really well. You grab it and twist it, and just make sure you get that pasta into the water as quickly as possible. Make sure it's all in the water. And now when you cook it, you can cover it. It'll cook a little bit faster if you cover it. It says to cook 10 minutes. There's no way. If you cook this is really thin spaghetti here. See how that's skinny spaghetti. If you cook that 10 minutes, it's going to be mushy. It's not going to be good. Yeah, after you've done it a few times, you'll just learn. Just by moving the spaghetti around in the pot, you'll be able to feel whether it's done or not. You'll be able to see a white part, a part that's whiter in the center of it. And that's the part that's not done yet. But that's one way to tell if your spaghetti's done. I'm going to go stir it really quick here. But then the other thing is, when it's done, when the timer goes off, don't just turn the flame off, because the water is still hot there. It'll continue to cook, and then you end up with mushy spaghetti. About like 7 minutes probably would be good for this. 10 minutes is too much. As soon as it's done, you want to get it out of the water right away so it doesn't get mushy. And took that pot, dumped everything, water, the spaghetti, everything, all at the same time into the colander. The water ran through, and then you get your drained pasta. Looks like this. And this pasta's pretty good. Now it's starting to stick already. So what I'm going to do, this pan here that I just cooked it in, I poured a little cold water on the bottom of it so it would cool down a little bit. So I put this pasta in here. All right, so I just pour a little bit of this bottled water over the top of it, which kind of rinses it, and then it makes it so it doesn't stick anymore. Another way you can make it not stick is to, as it's boiling, and this also keeps it from boiling over, is to put a little bit of oil after you get this spaghetti in the water, put like a little bit of oil on top. It'll float on top, and it'll help reduce the thing from boiling over, and it'll also keep the pasta from sticking a little bit. You know, it'll coat the pasta with a little bit of oil. The problem with using oil, though, on pasta is that when you get your sauce on it, like a tomato sauce or something like that, the tomato sauce won't stick to it either. And you end up, when you eat it, you end up eating pasta, and then you got a bunch of tomato sauce left in your plate or your bowl or whatever. Now there should be either no white in the center or just a little bit of white in the center. And that's what I got there. I got just a little bit of white in the center, and that's how I like it. Some people like it done more, some people like it done less. You know, it's whatever, you know. That's the cool thing about cooking when you do your own cooking, is you can make stuff exactly the way you like it. If you want just a little bit of garlic, but you still want a lot of stuff like an oil and garlic, you can instead of doing, you know, 10 different cloves of garlic, you can do 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, and then the rest of it just an onion cut up. And it'll be the same kind of thing, but it won't be as strong. But I couldn't find my garlic. For some reason, my garlic went AWOL, and I looked all through the refrigerator, and as I was looking for my thing of garlic, I found an old garlic way in the back of the refrigerator that's trying to grow. You know, it was trying to grow on my refrigerator. And you'll see this sometimes. And I'll just take them apart and then stick that in a pot, in some soil, or stick it in the garden or whatever. And it'll grow up, and it'll make each one of these little things here, you know, after a couple months or so, 3 months or whatever, it'll make a whole big garlic ball, you know, whole thing of garlic. So you never have to buy garlic again if you do that, if you time it right and everything. And what I do is first I poke it here so that my knife can get a good edge. Then I cut the top off, but I don't cut it all the way off. I cut it part way. And then lift it like that. I do that on the bottom too. Poke it to get a grip. Because this knife is a little bit dull, but still not too bad. And so then you grab that, and it makes a little handle here that you can just grab and pull the skin like that. That one didn't work too well. This one might work better. Oh shit. Plan B. If that doesn't work, that usually works pretty well. If that doesn't work, plan B is to do one of these cuts on it, all the way across, and that gives you a thing to grab. And you know, I don't bother trying to just pull this little skin off. That's really a pain in the butt to try to just pull that little skin off. I just go in there and grab the whole first layer and just take it off that way. It's just a lot easier. You cut it like from North Pole to South Pole. The top of the onion is the North Pole. This is the South Pole. So you cut it right through from the North Pole to the South Pole like this. I'll go ahead and cut it. I can cut it on this towel here, I think. And cut it all the way through. That's the first cut. Again, from the North Pole to the South Pole. Like that. And then keep on going that way. From the North Pole to the South Pole. All through the whole thing. This is kind of hard to do on a towel, but I'm not going to do it exactly right. It's too hard for me to do it with this, but then turn it sideways. Now cut it across grain. Cut it across the ones that you just did. And and see, these are perfect little cuts that way. Then they're almost little squares. See. And then when you get to this part here, it's a little too close to hang on to when you're doing it, right? You try to cut that, it's just going to all fall apart. What you do is just take that and tip it like that, and then cut it some more. And there you go. You got diced onion. You can just add other vegetables. You can cut up a tomato. You dice the tomato almost the same way I dice that onion, kind of. Or broccoli. Broccolis are really good, or any kind of green like kale, and you put that into the pasta, the tomato, and the broccoli. Oh, and you cook that separate, of course. You cook the broccoli separate, and cook the tomatoes separate. You can mix them together if you want, but if you're looking for a really cool presentation, then you cook them separately, right? We just cook the pasta separately, then cook the oil and garlic and onion separately, and don't cook it too much. If you use oil, then it's easy to overcook it too much. But if you use water, the water's going to boil and it will maintain the temperature at 100 degrees, and you won't overcook it that way. You put the garlic and onion sauce on it, then you put the tomatoes on it, the diced tomatoes on top of the pasta, and then put the green, whatever it is, broccoli or whatever on top of it, and it looks really cool. You don't want to cook the pasta and the sauce together, because then the pasta will get overcooked and it'll be mushy. Let me show you this. When you're cutting with your knife, after they got it all cut up, and they'll put the pot on the end of the cutting board, and then they'll scoop it off like this with a knife, right? You probably do that, right? You probably do that after you chop stuff up. You go like this, and what happens is when you do that, you end up scraping the edge of the knife against the cutting board, and your knife gets dull really fast that way. And I found out that if you just simply take your knife and flip it over and use that side to scoop the ingredients off the edge of the thing, your knife will stay sharp for a long, long time. I only sharpen my knife now like once every couple of months now or something by doing that. I used to have to sharpen it almost every time because it would go dull because I would scrape it on this cutting board like this. So that's another tip. You time everything out so that your sauce is done at the same, all the ingredients get done at the same time, so they all can come together and they're still warm and all that kind of stuff. But this pasta has been sitting for a little while I was dicking around doing that other stuff. It's a little sticky now. See that? It's kind of clumpy. And the way you fix that again is just pour a little bit more water on top of it. And if you want to keep it warm, then you can put warm water on it, whatever. And it loosens it right up again. Right? You take the fork and you put it into the spaghetti, and then you take a spoon and hold that against the end of the fork. That way, when you turn the spaghetti on the fork, the spaghetti doesn't fall off the end of the fork, and you can just wind it on there really good and then eat it. So that's how you eat spaghetti. And I didn't think I was going to get into how to eat spaghetti. Any questions? And hopefully, whoops, oh shit, that didn't work. Oh. God, I practiced this too. Do you cook anything else on stream? Like steak? No, Ben. No, look at my thing. It says vegan. Are you trolling me there, Ben? What are you doing?